Thank you very much. And Minister, as we celebrate International Women's Day, I'm thinking of the women and children fleeing war in Ukraine, and we are all thinking of Rachel, hopefully, who will be out of Ukraine as soon as possible, and I know we're all thinking and praying for her. And we also have to think of those who fled war in the Middle East and in Africa. And I'm thinking of women fleeing violence in their own home. And I'm also so grateful for all the hard work to put a refuge for Carlo on the priority list. And I know it's working locally with all the stakeholders, the victims and the local authority, because we have to do all we can to keep women safe. And if nothing, even today shows us that, you know, women's refuges are so important too, and I know we need time scales on them, and I have been contacting the Minister myself about what the time scale is for Carlo, but I think it is important that everywhere that doesn't, of the 9 counties that doesn't have one, that they do have one. When we open our doors, as we should, to refugees, and absolutely, but we need to make sure we have the correct information, the proper supports and the proper facilities, because we need to do that, Minister, and that has to be a priority for us. I sat at committee today for pre-legislative scrutiny of the Birth and Information Tracing Bill, and we debated just last week the Institutional Burials Bill here, and I reflect on the courage and conviction of survivors of mother and baby homes in their continuing search for truth, for justice and for answers. I want to thank them for all their work to date in pushing for accountability at every level. Legislation such as this provides space for amendments to be made. I have called on redress for all who are in mother and baby homes. I have called for fast-track medical cards, and I have joined others in voicing survivors' needs, not just because it's International Women's Day, but every day. On a day like this, I think it is great that we get to have this conversation about how we can be more inclusive, more equal, better at making, I suppose we're better to try and make the world a better place for women and children, and I think that is so important. We have a long history of supporting gender equality in Fianna Fáil, and just today it was announced that the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage, alongside Women for Elections, will create a data hub with historic and real-time information to show the participation of women in political life since the foundation of the state, and that's very welcome. And I think all of us will agree we need to make sure that that we're there and that women, are remembered and talked about, and I think that's so important, because if you look at in 2020, 31% of our general election candidates were female. I would encourage all women to get involved with politics, whether in their community, on Parents Association or community committees, or running for election. Although the EU have been moving towards gender equality at a snail's pace, Ireland ranks 7th in the EU on the Gender Equality Index. Gender inequalities are most pronounced in the domain of power, in which Ireland ranks 10th. Despite improving since 2010, Ireland is furthest away from gender equality in political decision-making. If women are not at the table, they cannot shape policy. And I'm a firm believer that women at the table can make such a difference. And I mean, we work so hard, and we multitask, but there is definitely that divide there, and we need to make sure that we conquer that. In the 32nd Government of Ireland, which includes just 4 women as ministers in the Cabinet, there's 11 ministers are men, and if you look at then further, the 5 females are junior ministers, and yet you have 16 male. So, I suppose we need to look at women as ministers. We need to look at women across all boards. But I just feel that, we can do more, because we have so much to offer. And it's great today that we can highlight this, because, it is so important. If you look at Finland, almost half of their parliamentarians are women. And yet in Ireland, if you look at it, only 22.5% of TDs are women. So we have a lot of work to do. I think all of us together have a part to play, and I want to wish everyone today, I hope all the women had a lovely day today, and I think, we just need to do more, and I think all of us, have a duty of care to the women to make sure that we have no obstacles in their way, that we encourage as many women to be inclusive in what they want to do, and that, and make sure that they know they can make that change, because we can do that. And thank you, Minister. Thank you, Kim Keola.